Hello there, it's your boy TFL back casting some more games from the Sunbros 1v1 tournament because the multiplayer servers are down for maintenance. I'm very excited to be bringing you another 3-game set. We have got Ewoewo versus the Sheep Master himself. It's Dunamai. Sorry, I haven't got a cool intro for Ewoewo. I send me a write in Discord. Send me a message. What should I say about Ewoewo? Ewoewo, the master of everything. Ewoewo playing as Hausa, not a civ you see so often, especially kind of down in the slightly more moderate elo divisions. I feel opening up with the granary. Got their hunts on there, got the villagers getting a bonus. Have they changed the effect on those, on that, or is that a bug? I think that might be a bug. Got the cows lined up. Looks like has already sold one, probably to get the wood for that opening house or hut. Meanwhile, Dunamai playing as Spain. I wonder if we're going to see some sheep. Ooh, interesting. We're not seeing sheep, but we are seeing the word Jez. Does that mean Jesuits? Are there Jesuits on this map? There aren't. There are some Navajo, but those are very much not Jesuits because they're skirmishers, so I don't know what Jez means. Has opened up with a house and a TP, so has had to chop for that. Explorer is now off, going on a look around. Doggo accompanying the Explorer, we do love to see that. Going to be trying and poke out some treasures, potentially going to be having a look at the opponent's hunts, at the opponent's starting position. We've got the Emir, I think it's an Emir, for Hausa, bumbling about here in the middle of the map. Going to see that Spain TP. Hausa opening up with a 3 villager shipment. The deck is called Water. And we've got 2 battle canoes. We've got a cannon boat in age 3. Those cannon boats are so silly. Interestingly, we've got this card. I've not seen this. Garabu Market. Universities improve nearby buildings. Wonder if we'll see that come out. I don't see that one very often. And the Emmy here working on nice 80 XP treasure. Of course, the African Explorers, their favourite type of kind of treasure to take is one with like 2 or 3 fairly low level guardians. So these wolves and these cougars are absolutely perfect for them in that regard, because that's what works best with their chaos ability. Hausa aging up with the Hausa. That just, I just find that silly that that's a thing. Meanwhile, Spain going up with 16 villagers. That's not something you see every day. No water in this deck, so I'm guessing they're not going to be looking for a docking transition. And in fact, no capitalism to speak of. No gold, 100 gold from some treasures, I'm going to speculate, so far. But those shipments being held, so I think we're going to see the straight 700, 700, maybe followed up by 5 villagers. I know capitalism is coming in after all. I assume going up with the classic, going up with the governor. So I imagine Spain looking to put in a really, really fast fortress here. I'm still so confused as to what Jez means. Dunamai, please write in afterwards and tell us, why is this deck called Jez? Hausa are going for the Hausa University in transition, of course. It's a bit like a bank. It's kind of like half a bank, except the resource it provides you is influence, the magical resource that's better than all the normal ones. That's how I think of it, at least. You can, of course, toggle it over to XP. But I don't think you want to. You want to keep it on influence. Also gets a generic builder from the Age Up, which I imagine is turning into a dock. Yes, it is. So that's going to get the water beam started for Hausa. Of course, no schooners or equivalent in this deck. And currently housed has got plenty of wood, has got a house going down as well. I wonder if it hasn't got any military buildings, so not sure if we're going to be seeing any early military from Hausa here. Might just be committing to working on the boom. Is training Griot out of that university. What's the Griot going to be good for? Does anyone need healing? Can inspire buildings? Oh, going to be inspiring the dock. That's pretty nice. Hadn't thought about that before. Yeah, cool. So Griot going down to the dock to help out with the boats down there. Spain, meanwhile, I've been distracted for a while, but here's the headlines. They're going up to Fortress. Of course they are. They sent 700 gold. They sent 700 wood. Well, it's just about to arrive. Question for me is, are we going to see cheeky 5 villagers? Because they're going to have the shipment available in plenty of time, and I think it's a good option, gang. That's my hot take. This is going to be a lightning quick age 3 though. We're nearly a third of the way at 6:30, so I think it's going to be in just before 7:30. The tower has gone down very close to home though, so it's not a fast aggression kind of FF. 5 villagers have come in. No, I tell a lie. 5 musks are getting trained. Sorry, I was distracted by the 24 there. 5 villagers have not come in. The shipment is getting stacked for age 3. 5 musks in queue. I wonder if we're going to see something as simple as, 15 musks and the falconet, maybe backed up by 4 husks from the age up, can be pretty effective. Hausa, though, have just thrown out the shipment of raiders. Don't know where they got 7 raiders from. But Hausa have got 7 raiders, and they have come in on this TP in the middle of the map. Probably from this war camp where they're training more raiders. That TP is going to go down. Dunamai will be aged up in time to have some units, but not for those units to get actually involved and save it. And I think Dunamai is just going to take the hit on that one. Thanks for that. It was good while it lasted. 2 Falcons in queue, almost popped. Has got the wood for a house. Needs to build one fairly quickly. Otherwise, this batch of musketeers is going to be spoiled, which is a bit of a shame. The Cav come in to see what they can do. They probably caught sight of the tower there. And caught sight of the musks and decided they had better things to be doing. Now it's kind of an interesting situation for Hausa. They probably just want to stall this game out for as long as possible, like slow Spain down, maybe use these raiders to, threaten the base, pull the army back, let the army come forward a bit, pull it back again. As long as possible for this investment in the dock and the boats to start to pay dividends. I mean, it's already doing okay. They were nearly up to 1,000 food there. Some javelin riders coming out. These are not incredibly cheap. They're pretty trash compared to goons, and they're not that cheap, so I'm always a bit unsure about the javelin riders value, but they're going to provide something here. They're certainly going to be able to deal with these husks, and they've got a 2.5 versus artillery, so they might be able to do something to the falconets. It'll be interesting to see what Dunamai does with the falconets. Is keeping them nicely far back, keeping them defended by all the musks. The doggo goes in just to double confirm that that's what we're dealing with. It's a whole bunch of javelin riders. And maybe things are a little bit awkward for Dunamai here, He's got the classic Spain FF, 15 musks and 2 falcons, 4 cannons, but a whole load of cav from Hausa. Not much in terms of infantry. Some Irish Briggs from the palace, that's really fun. Not much that's really that weak to the falconets, so Yeah, I think it kind of makes sense for Ewo to just go in and tank the damage in order to get those falconets down. And now, yeah, you've got a lot of musketeers. They're going to go into melee. They're going to clean up this army, but at the end of the day, what have Spain got left to show for this? And I think this is looking really, really good for Ewo. They have managed to neutralize the threat. It will be a while before Spain comes back with a new threat of any sort of equivalent nature, and that's even more time for Ewo's big eco lead to open up. And just let's remind ourselves, we're looking at 35 villages, 12 of them idle right now, all the fishing boats idle, need to get directed over to new fish. But there's also 2.25 influence. That's something like three. Yeah, basically 3 villages on influence, the magic resource that's better than all the other resources. And that's going into those Irish brigs, who are a really nice, good value unit that could go later on into natives. That Shadow Tech could go into artillery later on. So many good options for influence. Now Spain coming in here, putting a bit more pressure on. Of course, Spain did destroy a few houses. I don't think it's really caused a problem in terms of Ewo's housing. Was able to put up a couple more at the back without too much drama. Spain does kill a couple of vills, but guess what? Ewo's laughing because there's still 10 vills ahead. Still got 7 locked up in the TC. Could get those out a little bit more readily. Has also got 3 griots at the back who, can start causing problems if Spain comes in with another attack. Spain, they've got veteran musketeers, they've got some rods as well, but this army is not big enough. It's kind of... I question Dunamai a bit because I'm not sure there's any point in Dunamai trying to be aggressive right now. It's just such a clear advantage for Hausa in terms of the number of units on the map, and I really feel like Dunamai can evidently see that because they keep going back, but and not engaging properly with the fight. But they seem to want to stick around and put the pressure on, and sure, it's good to put pressure on, but if I'm Dunamai, I'm in this situation, I've got to be thinking like, what's my out? How do I get a big result here? Because I'm kind of behind and I need something to go my way. Now, that something could be some really powerful mercs because these mounted infantry are nice. I know there's also the armoured pistoliers in here, and I wonder if those 2 cards together could potentially get something going here. Kind of sad we haven't got Spanish gold in this deck. I feel like Spanish gold, this is exactly the kind of situation where Spanish gold could be really useful. And now we see a fight going down, and I'm really not sure this is the right time for this fight. I think you want the armoured pistoliers and the mounted infantry to kind of come in together. The javelin riders are mostly getting taken out, but there's a lot of Fulani at the back here. The mounted infantry, the weird hybrid skirmisher thing, will do okay versus the Fulani, but the goons... no, they're not goons, they're mounted infantry. The skirmishers will do okay, but there's also quite a lot of musks in there. It's quite a weird combination of armies right now. I do feel like Hausa are going to be able to come out of this okay. Skirmish versus Fulani is still fine. The Musks getting scared. And yeah, so the units traded down there. I actually think Dunamai did fine in terms of trade. Got quite a lot of value for those mounted infantry. But the mounted infantry are all gone now, and you've got nothing special, and your opponent's still got quite a chunky eco lead. It's still 8 or 9 villagers, which, is that boat investment that Ewo made earlier. And it's just like I was saying, like the longer this game goes on, the more that Hausa is going to be able to open up an advantage. with their eco. So Spain now shipping archaic infantry combat, so that's going to boost the rods in this army, but not the skirms or the musk. That's kind of annoying because it boosts the crossbows, and you kind of get tempted to maybe think, oh, maybe I could switch over to crossbows, but I think it's not a good idea right now with all of these javelin riders getting mixed in. You need the skirmishers there to be able to kite those and to be able to just put the extra bit of damage on those and clear them up nice and quickly. Batch of 5 lancers, another shipment of 4 lancers in for Spain. You know, say what you like about Spain, they've got a lot of shipments and they keep sending them in. Yeah, once again, I really think Spanish gold might have fitted quite nicely in this deck, kind of giving a bit of a boost, maybe giving an option for some artillery or to start to build towards an Age 4. I do think like Age 4 is one of Spain's options here in terms of how they might get back into this. The other option that's not really available without 1,000 wood or the covered wagon is to try and go for more TCs and challenge the villager lead, you know, in terms of absolute numbers. It's kind of impressive that Spain keep coming in here, putting in pressure, and I think it's costing them a lot in terms of not being able to get much of a mass going. But I only just noticed that Ewoewo's been Age 2 this whole time. My goodness. I kind of assume that Ewoewo must have aged up like 3 or 4 minutes ago, just because, I guess. But yeah, Ewoewo now going to be able to veteran up those Fulani, veteran up those Javelin Riders. There we go, straight away. Elite Ranged Warriors, Elite Hand Cavalry, it's all coming in. It's going to be that much harder for Spain to keep the pressure on. And there you go, every now and then you just see Spanish infantry wandering in, and all those Fulani start firing very, very quickly. And the green numbers start popping up. And, you know, those are just units getting whittled away. And that's kind of what's keeping Spain behind here, as well as the eco lead. They're paying quite a high price to keep Hausa in the corner. Hausa are still fine for hunts. They've still got this one up in the corner. Spain haven't been, like, really pushing around the edges. I wonder if they've scouted. No, so Dunamai hasn't. I mean, yeah, Dunamai can just about see that. But not really taking that much interest in this area up here. I mean, there is a palace there, so it's not going to be easy anyway. And look, another hunt getting pulled in. That's another 2 minutes of Hausa having hunts, not having to worry about going over to farms, which is really annoying, especially if you're African. And, you know, there's another hunt down here. There's still a gold mine. Okay, this one's nearly dead, but there's still a whole gold mine up here. This palace up here is absolutely, like, massive in terms of how much value it's providing for defending resources. You know, if Hausa really need to, they can start to come out and take this hunt out here. That would probably be difficult, and it's what Spain is really working hard to prevent. But I think Spain is paying a very high price for this map control. And we kind of see that reflected in the score difference here. So Spain now investing in getting their TP back, which I really like. Could potentially think about going for, you know, another TP and maybe even Stagecoach or even all three. I think it would be, you know, quite good value, and one of the ways that they could boost their eco and try and recover this gap a little bit. The gap is still, you know, 8 villages, which is basically 10. So not really much change there, but of course the difference between 20 villages and 30 is a bit different to the difference between 45 villages and 55. So in that sense, things are getting a bit less bad for Spain. Some nice micro there from Dunamai, just managing to bait out a couple of the raiders, but I really don't think you want to get these forces stuck in here. And what's especially bad as well is that micro and that boxing around. It meant that all of these rods were stuck on the wrong side of the fight. And they were getting picked off by the Filani and the Javelin Riders basically for free because they were having to faff about trying to walk around and path their way around to the front of the fight here. Yeah, a really bad fight for Spain here. Now, the Armoured Pistoliers are coming in. That might be enough to kind of slow the momentum, but yeah, it's definitely feels like the mood has changed and Hausa are confident enough to go on the offensive now as I knock over my microphone. And that trade post is down. Dunamai posturing with this army, but this army does not want to engage. Like, if Dunamai wants to stand any chance of surviving this push, they need to go home and camp up. Haven't even got any military shipments left really to speak of. You know, maybe a cav combat and a couple of huge batches of cavalry, but no, that doesn't really work against the Javelin Riders. Maybe goons, but no, that doesn't work with the Filani there. So, oh, and a raid's coming in as well. Spain stacking up way too much wood, probably starting to have to, suddenly needing to think about mills because they've lost all this map control and don't have anything they can do in terms of food. Starting to go into the water themselves, but they're a long way behind in terms of that. And basically, it's big problems now for Dunamai. House of Trastamara comes in. That's an interesting angle. That's going to help a lot. I tell you what, if that House of Trastamara had been... Just going to pause to get this comment. If that House of Trastamara had been, like, two or so cards earlier, I think it could have been really powerful. Anyway, Spain is taking this fight. The Armoured Pistoliers is not really doing anything in terms of their support ability because they're separated out from the rest of the army. Going to be cutting through. Actually, the Lancers getting around here doing okay. These Javelin Riders, you know, they look scary, but they're not that strong, even though they're upgraded to Veteran. Probably about 2/3 of a goon in terms of military power. The Hausa army does clean up, though, and they've got raiders left over to spare to go and try and kill some villagers out here on the side. These raiders fighting the Minutemen, and the GG is called. And I think a really good game there, kind of competitive, especially that initial toss-up, that initial push. I think Ewoewo did well there, and from that point, I kind of felt like the balance shifted a little bit. The Dunamai did a great job of keeping the pressure on, but I'm not sure that it was quite the right strategy. I think, yeah, during that second half, Dunamai maybe needed to take a bit bigger gamble, maybe combine that mounted infantry and pistolier shipment into one force, maybe an aggressive second town centre, or I don't think there was a fort in the deck, but a fort could have given a little bit more purchase, and then a bit more of an eco answer to House's water boom was the way to have a little bit more of an opportunity there. But a really good, nice first game. Some really good micro and kind of military management there from Spain, especially. And I will see you in the next one. But for now, GG.